Hello friends, welcome to Learn with Reshu. Today in this tutorial I will explain you the ID attribute in the HTML5. So let's start. In the HTML, the ID attribute is used to specify a unique ID for an HTML element. So we cannot have more than one element with the same ID in the HTML document. So ID attributes specify a unique ID for an HTML element. The value of ID attribute must be unique with the HTML document. The syntax of ID is we use basically hash for IDs. So for example, if I define ID, if I define here ID, and then ID should be unique. So I cannot define ID city and ID city here. But if I define ID city here, so for example, in this city I need to choose hash, and for class I should choose dot. So as I explained in my class attribute tutorial, the class attribute is specified by dot and the ID is specified by hash. So for example, now so if I run this code, it will looks like this. You see here, because I changed here class to ID and I deleted main, so this main is not working. For example, I choose here class main, class attribute main, then you will see the change. See, so you can define ID and class both in the particular tab. So ID is defining for the ID is particular, it should be a unique in the particular. The first thing, ID should be unique, and the second thing, ID should be represented in the style sheet by hash. So hash and then ID name. So by this way you can use ID in the HTML block. As ID can be used to bookmarks as well. So if I want to do bookmarks in the HTML, we can use IDs and links. So for example, I have explained I think ID in my full HTML tutorial, or if I haven't, I am not sure. Okay, I can give you an explanation example. So for example, I have a header tag here, like this, and I will put this whole thing many times so that it will be easy for you to explain. You just see what I will going to explain. So I have a very big HTML page now. So what I did is I have defined HTML header tag h2 and defined by ID c4. So now what I will do is I will create a different tag, a tag, a link tag. So here is my link tag in the bottom of the page. And for example, I want to jump, here it's written jump to the page chapter 4. So for example, if we have a page where we have defining the chapter or something in this place in the top, and I reach to the bottom and I want to jump to the top on one click. So what I use is I refer href ID. So hash ID if I use, so here this chapter 4 has ID c4. So what I did is a hash ID. So I will be here, but if I click, so it will reach, my page will reach here. So you can look, I save it, refresh it. So here is the chapter 4 and I reach to this. If I want to jump to the chapter 4, I just click and you see chapter 4 is visible now. So by this way you can jump from bottom to the top or top to the bottom. So for this use also IDs are useful. And for example, if I want to add if I want to add a link to the bookmark from another page. So for example, what I wanted to explain here is for example, if I add like this in this href, instead of this I put like this. So I have html_demo.html hash c4. So what it will be happen is I saved. I refresh the page. So if I click this page, so I will move to the next page like this html demo.html. So by this way in so if I have in this HTML page the ID c4 hash, so I can just jump to chapter 4 on this page. So you understand, we can go to the another page with the ID with the use of ID. I know it's little bit tricky, so I will explain this in better way in my next tutorial. For this tutorial, it's that's it for today. So thank you very much and keep watching my videos, and please don't forget to subscribe, dear friends. Bye bye.